Shalom, I'm Jerry, and today I'll be reading from Deuteronomy chapter 21, 22, and 23. Suppose a slain person is found fallen in a field on the land Adonai your God is giving you to possess. Who struck him is unknown. Then your elders and judges must come out and measure the distance to the towns that are around the slain one. Now the town nearest to the slain one, the elders of that city, are to take from the herd a heifer that has not been used for work or pulled a yoke. Then the elders of that city are to bring the heifer down to a flowing wadi that has not been plowed or sown, and break the heifer's neck there in the wadi. The Kohanim, the sons of Levi, will come forward, for Adonai your God has chosen them to serve him and pronounce blessings in his name, and by their mouth every dispute and assault is to be settled. All the elders of that city nearest to the slain one will wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the wadi. Then they will answer and say, Our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes see. Grant atonement for your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, Adonai, and do not put innocent blood on your people Israel. Then atonement will be granted to them for the blood. So you will purge the guilt of innocent blood from your midst when you do what is right in Adonai's sight. When you go out to war against your enemies, and Adonai your God hands them over to you, and you take them captive, suppose you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire her and would take her as a wife for yourself. Then you are to bring her into your house, and she must shave her head, trim her nails, and remove her captive's clothing. Then sit in your house and weep for her father and mother a full month. After that, you may go to her and become her husband, and she will be your wife. Now, if you are not pleased with her, then you may send her off wherever she wishes. But you must certainly not sell her for silver. You may not treat her as merchandise, since you have humiliated her. Suppose a man has two wives, the one loved and the other unloved, and both the loved and the unloved bear him sons. But it happens that the firstborn son belongs to the unloved wife. Now on the day he lets his sons inherit what he has, he must not treat the loved one's son as firstborn, in place of the unloved one's son, who is the firstborn. Rather, he must acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the hated one, by giving him a double portion of all that he has. For he is the first of his vigor, the right of the firstborn is his. Suppose a man has a stubborn and rebellious son who does not listen to the voice of his father or mother. They discipline him, but he does not listen to them. Then his father and mother are to grab hold of him and bring him out to the elders of his city, to the gate of his place. They will say to the elders of the city, This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He does not listen to our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of his city are to stone him with stones to death. So you will purge the evil from your midst, and all Israel will hear and be afraid. Suppose a man is guilty of a sin with a death sentence, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree. His body is not to remain all night on the tree. Instead, you must certainly bury him the same day. For anyone hanged is a curse of God. You must not defile your land that Adonai your God is giving you as an inheritance. You are not to watch your brother's ox or sheep going astray and ignore them. You must certainly bring them back to your brother. If your brother is not near you, or if you do not know him, then you should bring it into your house, and it will remain with you until your brother comes searching for it, and you return it to him. You are to do the same with his donkey, or his coat, or anything lost by your brother, that may be lost by him, and you find. You may not ignore them. You must not watch your brother's donkey or ox fall down on the road and ignore it. You must certainly help him lift it up again. A man's apparel is not to be on a woman, nor is a man to wear women's clothing, for whoever does these things is detestable to Adonai your God. If there happens to be a bird's nest in front of you along the road, in any tree or on the ground, with young ones or eggs, and the hen sitting on the young or on the eggs, you are not to take the hen with the young. You must certainly let the hen go, but the young you may take for yourself, so that it may go well with you and you may prolong your days. When you build a new house, you are to make a guardrail for your roof, so that you do not bring the guilt of blood on your house if anyone falls from it. You are not to plant your vineyard with two kinds of seed, or else the whole harvest will be forfeited, but the seed you plant and the produce of the vineyard. You are not to plow with an ox and a donkey together. You are not to wear a woven mixture, wool and linen together. You are to make for yourself twisted threads on the four corners of your garment in which you cover yourself. Suppose a man takes a wife and goes to her and then dislikes her, accuses her of shameful things, and gives her a bad reputation by saying, "I took this woman, but when I came near her, I did not find her virginity." Then the father of the young woman is to take her, and her mother is to bring out the signs of the young woman's virginity to the city elders at the gate. The young lady's father is to tell the elders, "I gave my daughter to this man as a wife, but he hates her. Indeed, he has accused her of shameful things, saying, 'I did not find your daughter's virginity.' Yet these are the signs of my daughter's virginity. They are to spread the wedding cloth before the elders of the city. The elders of that city are to take the man and punish him. Then they are to find him 100 pieces of silver and give them to the father of the young woman, because he has brought an evil name on a virgin of Israel. Then she is to be his wife. He may not send her away all his days." But if this thing is true, that the signs of virginity were not found in the young lady, then they are to bring the young woman out to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city are to stone her with stones to death, because she has done a disgraceful thing in Israel, to behave like a prostitute in her father's house. So you are to purge the evil from your midst. Suppose a man is found lying with a married woman, then both of them are to die, the man who lay with the woman and the woman. So you are to purge the evil from Israel. Suppose there is a young woman who is a virgin engaged to a man, and another man finds her in the city and lies with her. Then you are to bring them both out to the gate of that city and stone them with stones to death. The young woman, because she did not cry out in the town, and the man, because he humiliated his neighbor's wife. So you are to purge the evil from your midst. But if the man finds the engaged woman in the field, and the man forces her and lies with her, then only the man who lay with her is to die. But to the young woman you are to do nothing. There is no sin in the young woman deserving of death. For this matter is the same as when a man rises against his neighbor and kills him. For he found her in the field, the engaged woman cried out, and there was no one to save her. Suppose a man finds a young virgin who is not engaged, grabs her and lies with her, and they are discovered. Then the man who lay with her is to give to the young woman's father 50 pieces of silver, and she is to be his wife. Since he has humiliated her, he may not send her away all his days. A man is not to take his father's wife. He is not to expose his father's nakedness. No one with crushed or cut off genitals is to enter the community of Adonai. No one born of forbidden relations is to enter the community of Adonai. Even to the 10th generation, none of his descendants are to enter the community of Adonai. No Ammonite or Moabite is to enter the community of Adonai. Even to the 10th generation, none belonging to them is to enter the community of Adonai forever, because they did not meet you with bread and water on the way when you came out from Egypt, and because they hired against you Balaam, son of Beor, from Petor of Aram Naharaim, to curse you. But Adonai your God refused to listen to Balaam, and Adonai your God turned the curse into a blessing for you, because he loves you. You are never to seek their shalom or welfare all your days. You are not to detest an Edomite, for he is your brother. You are not to detest an Egyptian, for you are an outsider in his land. The children born to them, the third generation, may enter the community of Adonai. When you go out as an army camp against your enemies, you are to guard yourselves from every evil thing. If there is among you a man who is not clean from a nighttime emission, he is to go outside the camp. He may not re-enter the camp. Now toward evening he is to bathe in water, and when the sun sets, he may re-enter the camp. There is to be a place at hand for you outside the camp, and you are to go there outside. You are to have a shovel for yourself among your weapons. Now when you sit down outside, you are to dig with it and turn and cover up what comes out of you. For Adonai your God walks in the midst of your camp, to rescue you and to give your enemies over to you. Therefore your camp must be holy, so that he does not see anything indecent among you and turn away from you. You are not to hand over to his master a slave who seeks refuge with you from his master. Let him dwell with you in your midst, in the place he chooses, within one of your town gates, the one that is good for him. You are not to mistreat him. None of the daughters of Israel is to be a cult prostitute, nor any of the sons of Israel a cult prostitute. You are not to bring the fee of a prostitute or the wages of a dog into the house of Adonai your God for any vow, for both of these are detestable to Adonai your God. You are not to charge excessive interest to your brother on money, food, or anything that may be loaned for interest. To a foreigner you may charge interest, but to your brother you are not to charge interest, so that Adonai your God may bless you in every undertaking of your hand on the land you are going in to possess. When you make a vow to Adonai your God, you are not to delay to make good on it, for Adonai your God will certainly require it of you, and you would have sin on you. But if you refrain from making a vow, you would not have sin on you. Whatever comes out of your lips you are to take care to do, since you have vowed to Adonai your God a freewill offering that you have promised with your mouth. When you come into your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat your fill of grapes, but you are not to put any in your basket. When you come into your neighbor's standing grain, you may pluck the ears with your hand, but you are not to swing a sickle on your neighbor's standing grain.